Hey there! So, in America, where I live, spoiler warning, we have this thing called Memorial Day, which is, it's a day dedicated to honoring and celebrating the lives of people who died fighting in wars or who had fought in wars and then died. So it's very much like a military honoring holiday. And that is actually tomorrow. But at my church, because it's Sunday, we talked about it today, we had someone talk about her job being a religious counselor? Sort of, at the Pentagon. And then there's also this annual broadcast of a concert from, I think it's Capitol Hill, or somewhere at the mall. So in D.C., if you ever go to Washington, D.C., you'll see, like, there's this pointy thing over here, the Washington Monument, and there's, like, the White House, and in between is the mall. So this concert's on the mall. And that's always the Sunday before Memorial Day, the night before, whatever. So I'm very much entrenched in this mindset of pledge allegiance to soldiers, which very easily turns into pledge allegiance to war. So I wanted to sort of come at it from a Christian perspective on how to deal with war. So this is not actually universal. This is just me. I'm a Christian, and there's this thing called the cultural mandate where we are to take care of God's creation. And he explicitly says Jesus explicitly says the second greatest commandment after loving God is to love our neighbor as ourselves. And if you put these two things together, I think, while not perfect, the utilitarian worldview lines up the best with Christianity. And utilitarianism can be summed up as do the most good for the largest amount of people. Now, there are certain circumstances where a breach of ethics is so egregious. There are certain circumstances where a breach of ethics is so egregious that even if it benefits more people, you can't do it, and I understand. But for the most part, you can say it's good to be utilitarian. In fact, that's how I identify, among other things. So, the utilitarianist in me says that war is very rarely the answer. In fact, war is never the answer, and it's very rarely the best answer. We had this debate over what is a just war, and I came to the conclusion, forget what St. Augustine says, forget what the Code of Geneva or whatever says. There is never a just war. Terminating someone's earthly existence is never just. Partaking in war can only sometimes be more just than leaving a circumstance to itself. So there's that. And I think a lot of wars we wage as a country and as a species are unjust. But I don't think that has any bearing whatsoever on Memorial Day. Because I think it's totally, completely separate to criticize the industrial war machine that goes on in the United States, and then to criticize veterans. Because veterans and people who have lost their lives in the pursuit of freedom are truly heroes, because they are going to fight for my right to be able to say what I'm saying on YouTube. And these people deserve so much more love, so much more respect, and so much more of our help than they get. And so I will be first in line to protest an unjust war, or a war that is less just than leaving the situation alone or approaching it from some other angle. But after the political rally, I will be the first person to go, well, I can't really go help at, like, a hospital, but I will be the first person to go to a fundraising event to help, like, the Wounded Warrior Project or whatever. And a lot of people will say that this is inconsistent and I have to pick, and I disagree. I think it's vital to recognize that humans and human actions and individual actions are so much more important than the labels we use. It's why you can't just be like, oh, I'm a Christian, I'm fine. Your actions reveal who you truly are, and your actions can often separate you from the group you're claiming to be a part of. And you can criticize the group without criticizing the individual. I don't know, I sounded much more articulate when I was sort of composing this in my head. And I guess if you watching at this point, after almost 6 minutes, are part of the military, thank you for your service, and I really appreciate all you do. And please know that my criticisms of war come from a desire to protect human life, much like your participation in war comes from. I hope you have a great day.